Does anything about this look weird to you? Because there's something really interesting going on here, even if you don't care about the Punisher or comic books or anything like that. This is how the Punisher appears in that new Spider-Man movie that just came out. And some fans noticed that the logo on his chest is kind of faded out, like the bottom half kind of isn't there. And instead they've got like a row of knives there that just kind of hint at the teeth of the skull. But they had to do this because they can't show skulls in China. Now, some of you knew this because it comes up in video games a lot. I remember years ago there was a huge controversy with World of Warcraft, where the version that came out in China, they had to go through and all of the skeletons, they had to put flesh on them and turn them into the undead. I mean, I guess he also was undead, but you know what I mean. Now, as with all censorship everywhere, the rules are fuzzy and nebulous and unevenly applied. For example, the Punisher shows up in the video game Marvel Rivals, which is not only available in China, but was developed by a Chinese company. And he seems to have a gigantic skull on his chest, but if you look at it closely, it's been made so abstract that it almost looks like an alien skull. And I think it's interesting that they did the same thing that they did in the new Spider-Man movie, where they made the teeth part of a separate thing. Like, you could plausibly say that's not supposed to be part of the skull or whatever. But all censorship rules are somewhat arbitrary, and I've heard people complain that foreign media is held to a different standard. But to me, the much more important thing is that they probably didn't hear from the Chinese government about this at all. They probably made this change in advance. That's how most censorship works. For example, back when TikTok was owned entirely by a Chinese company, I had a video get taken down purely because it was about a guy who found an old skeleton in a cave, and their censorship algorithm detected bones in the photo behind me. But you can bet from that point on, I always made sure there were no bones in my videos before they went up. Now, as for why they have this prohibition against skulls, that's one of those things that kind of seems arbitrary from outside the culture. So if there's somebody out there from China, they could speak on it much better than I can. I know that the government censorship rules crack down very hard on anything suggesting the occult, like anything that could symbolize the undead or necromancy. But also I get the sense that there are some cultural taboos in terms of how you depict human remains, to the point that somebody has probably already complained that my statement at the beginning that they can't show skulls in China is a gross oversimplification. And that's true, and as with the things that Hollywood tends to cut, there's some overlap between what is overtly prohibited and what audiences just find distasteful. But if you want your blockbuster film to sell in the Chinese market, you've got to play ball.